I want to go back and talk about let me get this straight, the Keeping Families Together Act. Dianne Feinstein and all her fellow senators, not House members, senators, mind you, agreed yesterday unanimously to support this bill. Now, this bill basically says we're not going to enforce immigration policy in America. I mean, in essence, there's a lot of lawyer speak, and there's some aides and assistants and consultants who have drafted certain language in certain ways. But in essence, it says that we are not for supporting immigration law in America. We are indeed for illegal immigration. Well, I mean, how can you not be for illegal immigration if you believe people should be able to come to the country in an illegal way and there be no consequence? I mean, help me square that up. There is no way to square that up. Here's the deal. The reason that Trump has to stay where he is because there is no willing partner. Ted Cruz and Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan did what they always do. They got scared. They saw a poll on CNN or NBC or the Wall Street Journal that said Republicans are on the bad side of to your point, Rev, the optics in this scenario, and they run for the hills like they always do. That's the beauty of Trump. He doesn't really need this job. I think he's doing a wonderful job, but life is just fine whether he's the president or not. Ted Cruz would have to find something else to do. Paul Ryan, sooner or later, well, I know what Ryan will do. He'll end up being a lobbyist. That's what I'm sure he'll end up doing. Mitch McConnell really needs to be a senator. I mean, he's got to be a senator to be relevant. Trump really could take it or leave it. So you got competing forces. You got a Republican Party that historically has caved. When the media starts writing negative articles and the polling shows this is difficult, but Trump has to stay where he is because there is no willing partner to make an agreement with, unless you're going to make an agreement that we're not going to enforce immigration law in America. That is the only alternative. The Democrat Party in America today is an open border party. They have no interest whatsoever. You know, an oddity, some libertarians are open border. John Stossel, kind of an outspoken libertarian, John Stossel says up front and very candidly, I'm for open borders. I don't believe in the sovereignty of a nation, but that's that libertarianism in him. Well, Rev, but you're looking kind of quizzed. I respect that because he tells you what he believes. He's an open border guy. You can disagree with somebody if you know where they stand. It's hard to disagree with the Democrats because they won't admit that's what they are. But when you read the draft proposal of Keeping Families Together from the office of Dianne Feinstein, that is exactly what it is. We want to live in a country that does not enforce its immigration laws. The reason Trump's got to stand where he stands is because the Cruz amendment or the Cruz legislation will not be voted on by the Democrats. You got to get 60 votes. It will not pass. Why? Because it says things like expand holding facilities to keep the family together and then deport. In other words, what we'll do is all of these people say, this is my kid and I'm wishing to be granted asylum. We know a lot of these people are being dishonest. They're not their kid, and they're not there seeking asylum. They're trying to infiltrate themselves into a country that they believe there's better opportunity. Well, our opportunity belongs to the American people. I mean, it's called the United States of America. It's not called the United States of the world. The country belongs to who? Washington? No. Mexico? No. Colombia? Honduras? Venezuela? No. The country belongs to the citizens of the United States of America. We're called Americans for a reason. This is our country. We elect the people we want to represent our views, values, and virtues. And what's happening is you've had a continual caving in of people who know that we need to address immigration in America in a very sound and practical way, but they don't have the courage. Let's go back to something we said yesterday toward the end of the show. I've got the clip, the audio where Barack Obama says that he believes Jerusalem should be the capital of Israel. Hillary Clinton, on numerous occasions, said Jerusalem should be the capital of Israel. Barack Obama said more than one time, if you come to the border and try to enter this country illegally, there is a chance that you could be separated from your kids because you're committing a crime. On numerous occasions, Hillary Clinton said, if you come to the border and try to illegally enter America, there is a chance you could be separated from your kids. The difference in Trump and everybody else, Trump actually means what he says. Trump doesn't say things. In the world of business where metrics and measurables apply, the spoken word is not an accomplishment. There has to be some action to follow up that spoken word. Barack Obama was an academic. He was an academic to the point that the spoken word eventually could be perceived as an accomplishment. If he gave enough good speeches, things would fix themselves. And Clinton kind of sort of the same, out of the same mold as a Democrat. You know, you keep saying things long enough, sooner or later enough people will believe it, and maybe it'll come into action, maybe it won't. And Trump says, no, that's a ridiculous position to hold. You can't start there. If we say something, we've got to mean what we say. And Donald Trump absolutely means what he says and says what he means, and he's not going to back up. The optics of children crying in a holding facility breaks my heart, breaks everybody's heart. Rachel Maddow cried last night on her show. You want to see the intensity and the emotion? We talk about the enthusiasm gap in elections. This is what this is for. The liberals don't love children more than conservatives. Liberals don't wish for children to stay with their parents more than conservatives. Now liberals in this particular issue are not supportive of the rule of law. They don't believe in people trying to come into the country should be forced to do it the right way. But when you offer up DNA testing to find out whether or not that's your child and whether or not you're seeking asylum, the Democrats say, no, we don't want that. When you say, okay, we're going to expand the holding facilities to keep the family together, and then if we find out that there's some misleading information, they're going to be deported. The liberals don't want that. Why? Because that excludes the expansion of the voting bloc of the Democrat Party, who they believe, probably rightfully so, that this gives them a better chance of winning elections in the future. This is, I mean, think of this. Just, you're a conservative, you're a liberal. Your father's a conservative, your mother. Do you believe there's anybody out there in the conservative orbit or the liberal orbit who believes it's good to separate families and kids from their parents? I mean, raise your hand. If you're somebody out there of reasonable intellect, current company included, reasonable intellect, and you believe that there's an interest in any American to separate 3 and 4 and 5-year-old kids from their parents, raise your hand. If your hand's up, you're an idiot. Turn the radio to something else because you're not smart enough to listen to this show. Nobody wishes for that. Nobody wants that. Well, let me ask you another question. Raise your hand. Do you believe that the United States of America should have a lawful and orderly way for people to come and assimilate themselves and become Americans? It's called the United States of America. We wish for people to come here. We welcome people to come here, but we want them to become Americans. So if you believe that immigration law in a lawful, orderly, and mannerly fashion makes sense, raise your hand. You can't be a Democrat. There is no place for you in that party if you believe that, because they don't. Because if you read the Keep Families Together Act by Dianne Feinstein, which was drafted in the middle line, this is before she compared Trump to Nazis. She said this is not the United States of Germany. I'm sorry, the United States of America. Let me give you a distinct difference. I mean, for you that don't really understand world history, let me tell you what happened in Nazi Germany. 6 million Jews were exterminated. One entire group of people were almost wiped from the face of the planet Earth. And 11 times that I can count, people on the other side, or either people in the middle, have compared what Trump is doing to concentration camps, internment camps, and Nazi Germany. Well, just for your edification, 2 to 10,000 kids and families have been affected over the past 6 to 8 years. Some on Trump's watch, some not on Trump's watch. So somewhere between 2 and 10,000 families have been separated one from another. And you compare that to the exterminating of 6 million Jews? You can rationalize that? Joe Scarborough, famous Republican before he got the fancy haircut and the big job at MSNBC, he compared Trump to Nazi Germany. Dianne Feinstein, the author of Keep Families Together, compared. Elijah Cummings, yesterday in a hearing that was supposed to be about IG report, filibustered and went on and on and on about Trump's atrocities and the comparison to Nazi Germany. Well, let's get this straight. Just for once again, for your edification in mind. Here's the distinct difference between what's happening today and what happened in Nazi Germany. 2 to 10,000 families have been separated. Why? Because they broke the law. In Nazi Germany, 6 million Jews were wiped off the face of the planet Earth. Shame on anybody. You disgust me if you even seek to draw that parallel.